The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantain.
Indeed, that is me. Welcome to the show. Today's episode is a very interesting one on the electrification of things. We'll be speaking with Chad Schoppel from Ambient Air and HVAC Design Inc. So, today's market report, because that's what we're going to hit you with first. So, the average price of a home, we're going to be comparing the stats from January 2021 to January 2022, and these are brought to you by the Lakeland Association of Realtors. The average price of homes in Muskoka is up by 10.4% over last January. New listings are down by 21.5%. That's a pretty big chunk, so that means there's not a lot of homes coming on the market right now. The total inventory is down by 32.9%, which is even worse. That means there's hardly anything available for people to buy right now. Actual sales are also down by about 20.7%, but I'm wondering if that's because there's so little inventory available or if people have kind of got buyer burnout. The percentage of the original price is up by 1.3%, which means last January people were getting about 100% of their asking price. This January, they're getting 101.3% of their asking price, of their original price, that is. And days on the market, the telltale sign of how hot the market really is. It takes 12 days to sell a home on average in Muskoka. Last January, it took 12 days as well. Now, that was after COVID. If you look at pre-COVID 2020, January 2020, it took 50 days to sell a home. So there is a frenzy out there. It is a seller's market. It will continue to be a seller's market until more properties come up on the market. That's the market report. Have a great day. We'll be back with Chad Schoppel.
The State of Real Estate with your host, Gerry Lantain.
All right, welcome back to the interview portion of the show, and we are with Chad Schoppel. Price of natural gas and propane and oil will triple in price by 2030. Okay, they're going to triple the price of our resource sources, which is basically going to force you to get electric. How are people going to go from electric if they have a natural gas combination oil burner or a combination water heater?
Yeah, the low temperature variable refrigerant air source heat pump technology. So you pair that with like a straight electric furnace and you go with this air source heat pump technology or geothermal, which is makes straight electricity about 30 to 40% more efficient in our climate.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the technology is good, it's come from more China and Japan and stuff where they don't quite get the wicked cold temperatures.
Yeah, this is what they don't understand.
So the unfortunate thing is, and with all energy, there's no magic pill, there's no magic solution. So the government kind of creates the good ideas and then hopes that industry will provide an answer. And the answers really aren't there yet for all scenarios. So it's going to be a mix of hybrid stuff. So typically you'd have, your best way to heat in this part of the world is always with wood. Because wood is the most
But they don't want,
neutral.
they're eliminating wood stoves.
Well, because you can go out and cut it yourself in the backyard. Right. It's not controlled by anybody.
That's right.
So that's the kicker. So but most people want convenience and don't want the headache of dealing with wood, which is unfortunate because it is the most environmentally responsible thing to do when you look at what energy is. So the convenient aspects are the electrification of things, going straight electric, using heat pump technology, geothermal technology to harvest that energy. Our climate, these fancy new heat pumps, they call them low temperature variable refrigerant drive compressors and stuff like that. So they're going to work down to about minus 25. We know we get colder days than that.
Yeah.
So then you need
I know some of them can go down to negative 35.
Yeah, the problem is the heat output starts to go like this and your heat loss goes like that. Right. So you hit this balance point or this threshold where you need the straight electric or a straight backup supplemental heat.
Yep. So
that's kind of the problem in our system. But when you look at our heating period, it's 5 or 6 months of the year in total. We don't need much in the spring and fall, but we get into the season where we got to run something to keep us warm. So the heat pump technology, literally, it's about shaving the corners off of our total energy consumption individually, whereas if we can shave 3 or 4 months of the 6 months heating season off with really energy efficient technology, then the 2 months that we have to use the straight fossil fuels or straight electricity, depending how it goes, our impact is way less on the whole. So no individual can really solve these issues. Collectively is the idea, where we just try and knock corners off of how much we're using.
Yeah.
And
So, question then: does that mean that whoever, who's going to enforce the electrification of things? That's like, who's going to come to my house and say, "Well, Mr. Gerry, your natural gas furnace was supposed to be converted 2 years ago." Like,
it'll be subsidized. So the idea of the carbon tax is to take 90% of it. The government's gonna give you a tax rebate on 90% of what you paid on the carbon tax. It's gonna be on everything.
Okay.
And then in theory, the 10% they keep is to go to energy, low carbon, net zero initiatives. So that's gonna go back probably, I'd assume, to people that live in an old century home, that are the unfortunate ones that can't bring their house up to new standards. They're going to be out of luck. So I imagine energy will be a bit more subsidized for those people, and that we push the new construction in a better direction.
is that what they meant by "you will own nothing and be happy"?
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, because it all of a sudden it's a cost that's going to need to be incurred by a homeowner, but it may or may not be subsidized by this program.
Well, it's a government program, so you never know what they're going to do, right? They change things at the last second sometimes. So it's, the writing. I mean, we're on this progression of this. It's not like it's yet to come. It's been since 2018.
Yeah.
We're at about $50 per ton.
Going up to 170?
Right now, going up to 170 by 2030.
Woo-hoo!
So, yeah, so then that's kind of the unfortunate thing. There's 21 gases that are taxed.
Right.
So that's gasoline,
Propane,
methane,
you name
propane,
it. Yeah.
you name it, kind of all the good rock and roll stuff that creates the built environment.
Yeah.
So everything is going to get more expensive, and we're going to see it everywhere, from trucking to the food. It's going to be in everything. So people don't quite realize what's coming yet and what the formula is, because it's about we've kind of overdone it. We built this city on rock and roll, which is fossil fuels, and 1 acre of bush lot is equivalent to about 40 barrels of oil.
Wow.
So you can kind of put it in those contexts. So there's hundreds of millions of BTUs of energy in an acre of woodlot. So but it's about putting that energy to use properly, and we haven't done that up to this point. So everything's going to have to get smaller.
Right.
We're going to have to be okay with a little less. We're going to have to make things way more efficient, and that's going to be the evolution that we need to go on. And we to me, it doesn't even feel like we've really started that journey. I see in my business niche individuals that get it and take it on themselves to do that, but it's definitely not the norm yet. But I can see the ball starting to roll, which is exciting.
Perfect. Welcome back to the show. The electrification of things is the episode. We're trying to deal with mostly HVAC questions about homes, heating and heating and
Air conditioning,
yes, thank you very
ventilation,
much, Chad Schoppel. So, alternative. I want to talk about two things. Two separate topics. So I'll come back with the question: how would we retrofit our particular devices now to make them electric? And the second question we'll ask in this last half of the interview is, what electric devices are out there that can be used as an efficient heat source for electric heat source, and are there any sort of new things developing that we haven't seen come to market?
Yep.
So let's start with, how do we retrofit?
Yeah, so that's a neat one, and a lot of people, you'll start to hear this term in being used more. It's called future proofing. So future proofing is about just that. It's about saying, okay, because we have a long-term goal here with climate change and reducing our carbon footprint. So it's about knowing that, and that we can't just do it tomorrow. So it's about looking at what we can do today, what materials are affordable, what we can actually reasonably achieve with what's around us right now, and then to know what our ultimate goal is. So the future proofing is about maybe if you're putting a new thinking,
how do I future-proof my natural gas furnace today?
The easiest way you could do that, if you were going to replace it and you had an air conditioner or wanted air conditioning, would be to add an air source heat pump to your furnace system. Your existing
Can I add it
system.
to? I can add it to the existing. I don't have to replace
central air conditioner. It looks exactly the same as a central air conditioner. It's just got some more fancy controls. It's a modular device that can add on to any forced air heating system, ductwork system. So an air source heat pump is going to give you that 200 to 300% efficient heating at the shoulder seasons, down to freezing,
And
minus
that's for
5.
forced air furnaces?
For forced air furnaces.
Okay.
They do make standalone ones that they call them split systems, and they can be installed again solely on their own, and they have a
And this this system can be hooked up with propane, natural gas, and
Yep.
or oil in
Yep.
conjunction with, or does it have to replace it?
any forced air system that can be added on to in conjunction with what you have now.
And will the electrification of things allow for a combination of uses, or are they going to eliminate the fuels?
It'll have to be a combination of, well, it'll be probably straight electric, but it'll be straight electric elements like a conventional electric heater
Yeah.
with heat pump technology added on. Technically two different things, but both straight electric heat. But you can mix and match stuff for sure.
Okay, what about all those people whose homes have in-floor heating and work on combination boilers or boilers because it's a natural gas heat source, the water comes through,
Yep.
heats it up immediately.
Yep.
Can electric heat it that well?
Yeah. Well, so, and that's something to clarify too, is that we talk about efficiency and then we talk about economics. So electric heat is always 100% efficient. Heat is the byproduct of movement and friction and atomic vibration,
Yep.
and that's energy flowing through a wire or a resistive element. So funny enough, heating hot water is the most electricity is the most efficient way to heat
Okay.
it, because you have an electric heating element immersed in the fluid that you're trying to heat.
Okay.
So really, really good. So there are straight electric boilers. There are air to water air source heat pump boilers.
Okay.
So they're neat where they wouldn't hook onto a forced air system.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have a glycol or a fluid in
That's right.
in the heat pump unit, and they pump into a big thermal storage tank, and that storage tank is what feeds your radiant
So then for
heating
the most
system or
part,
something.
Every home in Canada right now
Yep.
will be able to be converted, not
Yes.
replaced.
Yes, any home right now could have those add-ons. Well,
Heat-wise, we're talking heat
could
source.
could be replaced or retrofitted
Yeah.
to have those
Okay.
efficiency add-ons.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, my wife and I have a natural gas forced air furnace. We are just hypothetically, we are very concerned about our climate, and we want to do something now to make that change, to future-proof today.
Yep.
What electric heat sources are there available to us today?
Well, just to back up a bit though, too, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure.
If you have, it takes a lot to manufacture things. There's a huge carbon footprint in making stuff. So if you have something that's working, just make sure it's working as efficiently as possible.
Yeah,
and
but
get
what
the
happens
most
when
life
these
out of
guys
it.
come along and say, hey, it has to be changed?
Well, yeah, if they're going to pull that, I just wouldn't do it. You just use what you have
Yeah.
until it needs to be changed.
Mhm.
That's
So-
valuing the resource the best.
As of-
So if you want to make what you have today,
Yeah.
your natural gas furnace work the best today, I'd say it's working. If it's working fine and you're doing the regular
Yeah.
maintenance, changing your filters, all that stuff, that's the problem. Most people focus on that. Don't focus on that. Focus on maybe my windows need to be replaced.
Yeah.
Maybe the seals on my door are leaking and cold air is drafting in constantly. Well, then my furnace has to run more. I'm using more fuel to offset that. So again, we got to turn our direction to what that furnace is heating.
Yeah.
And we want the envelope of that heated space to be as efficient as possible. And
Okay.
with some simple air sealing techniques, you can actually really bring that heat loss down a lot in older buildings.
Yeah. But I want to get back to what electric heat sources are available today. We have electric baseboard heating.
Yep, electric baseboard
There
heating.
is such thing as in-floor electric heat, right?
There's electric boilers. Yep, there's electric furnaces. So anything
And
that
forced air electric.
Yeah, so anything that you can think of as a gas or oil appliance is also made in a straight electric appliance, and then the geothermal is probably the most efficient, and then the air source heat
And
pump
geothermal
technology.
needs electricity to work. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
they consume quite a bit
Yeah.
of electricity.
So if I had an electric forced air furnace, as opposed to, say, natural gas at today's current prices,
Yep.
what would be more expensive? Do you have an idea about that? Would the electric be more than today's pricing?
So from natural gas for sure, propane, it's probably almost at par with propane, with slightly more expensive, and it depends when it runs. That's the problem with natural gas and propane. You're paying a fixed rate for the quantity of fuel. For electricity, we have a 3-tier system. There's peak, mid-peak, and off-peak.
Right.
So there's pretty vast differences in cost per unit of energy in those 3 rate groups, and that's where it becomes a hard comparison. So Thermal mass is a big deal with buildings, and ICF technology in building construction is a very heavy thermal mass. It can retain
Thermal mass.
Thermal
Just definition for the public
Thermal
and
mass
myself.
would
Ha.
be the easiest way to think of it would be concrete or a stone.
Cool. Yep.
Aside from a battery, it's probably the best thermal storage medium we have, and that's can do a lot for energy
As in wood
efficiency.
frame construction, not so great.
It's great, but it's not as great from an energy perspective as a heavier mass building. Yeah.
I'm representing a builder. We're doing a build up in town here in Huntsville, and ICF foundation from the ICF from the foundation through to the roof.
Yep.
I mean, you can't ask for a better building envelope. It's
Yeah.
too good. It needs the HVAC system.
Yeah, I see buildings that are full ICF now that are using 30 to 40% need 30 to 40% less heat than their conventional frame counterparts.
Yeah.
So there is a big deal to that. So when you can capture thermal mass in a building envelope and you apply straight electric heat to it, you can use the off hours from 7 at night to 7 in the morning off peak, where hydro literally is at par with what you're paying
So-
for propane to run that
Yeah.
heater,
Now
store
you
that
just
heat.
gave me a good idea for an advantage of people who are new home buyers, because the electrification of things is going to be happening. If you're looking for new homes, if you can find a new home that is built with ICF right from the ground to the roof, which is insulated concrete form, that'd be your best bet right now, right?
Yeah, and from an energy use standpoint,
Exactly,
from a manufacturing carbon footprint standpoint, with foam and concrete, they're fairly high CO2 emitting products.
Oh yeah.
So long term, in reducing that carbon footprint, maybe not so good. And that's what I mean. This is where we're going to start to see this stuff where building products are going to need to be more carbon neutral.
Right.
But I tend not to think that way so much. I think that everything comes at a cost. So if we can, make it the best to be the most efficient over a long period of time, if we have to pollute a lot in that initial phase for a short period,
Yep.
to have that long-term thing that's going
The
to last 10
long-term goal,
times longer,
yeah.
that's a good deal.
Okay, what a good time to end the episode. Thank you very much, Chad.
Awesome,
We can
Gerry.
go on again and again about this
We
one, I'll
can,
tell you
forever.
that.
Yep.
So, Mr. Chad Schoppel from Ambient Air HVAC Design.
Have
And
a
if
great
you
day.
need a professional, you can call him. So we'll be back with the tip of the week and the close of the show. All right, the tip of the week this week is about the electrification of things, and it is something, every homeowner should know. So what you need to do, the tip of the week this week, is to research the Canadian Net Zero Emissions Accountability Act. That's the tip of the week. Read it up and find out and look out what's in store, and be prepared for the future. Have a great day.